Well, good evening. I pray that you have been able to stay cool on this wonderfully warm day that we have experienced. Got a few more of them to go, I think. Anyway, I want to talk to us about the real me. The real me. I'm going to read to you from 2 Corinthians chapter 12. I'm going to read 1 through 6, but I want to focus on the last part of verse 6. It says, "It is doubtless not profitable for me to boast. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago, whether in the body I do not know, or whether out of the body I do not know, God knows, such a one was caught up into the third heaven. And I know such a man, whether in the body or out of the body I do not know, God knows, how he was caught up into paradise and heard inexpressible words which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Of such a one I will boast, yet of myself I will not boast except in my infirmities." And this is where I want you to get to the last part of this. "For though I might desire to boast, I will not be a fool, for I will speak the truth, but I forbear, lest anyone should think of me above what he sees me to be or hears from me." I want to read that last part again. "But I forbear, lest anyone should think of me above what he sees me to be or hears from me." Our reputation is valuable. It's valuable, but it can be distorted, and people get ideas of who we are and what we are based on things that they have seen or heard that may not be truth about us. When I took the position of manager here at Brazos in Slayton, they were having trouble with employees because the boss back then kind of let them get by with all kinds of stuff, and he couldn't control them. And so when they hired me and brought me in, they told them, "You better watch out for this guy. He is tough as nails and he doesn't put up with any stuff." After I got here, I realized they told them that, and I had to try to live up for that because I don't look at myself as that. I did expect my workers to do what the work they were paid to do, and was not afraid to get on them, but I didn't look at myself that way. Anyway, when I first came in, well, they were kind of afraid of me because they knew that if they didn't do their job that I would fire them, and went through a whole situation there that was uncomfortable for me because they did not know me, and I was portrayed as someone that I really wasn't. Again, I try to be fair, but I am going to expect my workers to do what they're paid to do. And so it took some time, but it came down to the fact that after being there some years, kind of like what Paul says here, I want them to think of me about what they see me to be or hear from me. I want their interpretation of who I am to be not because what somebody else has told them or what they've heard from somebody else. I want them to know me for who I am and what I've said to them, what I've spoken to them. As I left that business over the years, there was a lot of young men that came through that were dealing with drug problems, with family problems, and I had more than one of them tell me that I was the only father figure that they ever had because their fathers were not there for them. And you try to live up to who God has called you to be. Going back years farther than that, I had a big brother in high school that was a jock, and he liked to brawl a little bit, and he was kind of out there, wasn't afraid to back talk, and he was his own guy, and he just did what he did. And when I got into high school, I had some of the teachers say, "Oh no, here's another one of those Reeves boys. Here comes trouble." And they expected me to be like my big brother. Then I had others that I had a sister older than me, and she was smart as a whip. I mean, she was sharp as a tack, and I mean, she made straight A's in trig and just all kinds of stuff like that, and was an honor student. And some of them expected me, and I laugh at this because that's not who I am. They expected me to be like her. Now, I wasn't stupid. I left high school with, I think, a B average, but nothing like my sister. But so many times we want people to see us the way somebody else sees us, especially if it's in good light. And we need our reputation to be who we are, not who people say we are, not who people think we are because of this or that in our lives, but because of the lives we live, because of the things we speak, because of what people see in us. And that needs to be our reputation, not what other people have said about us. It's nice to have somebody compliment you to other people. It's nice to have people say good things about you to others. But that reputation is not the reputation that you want to bank on. You want people that know you. You want people that are close to you and hear what you say and watch the life you live. That's the reputation that you want to be untarnished as a Christian. And that's the real me. It's easy if you see somebody in church that looks like they're an honorable person, somebody that may be a board member or part of the staff, or somebody that teaches Sunday school or whatever. It's got a part in the church and plays a part in the church. And for that hour or 2 hours that you see them once a week, they seem to be such a great person. But it's easy to put on an act for an hour or two. And not saying that people always do that, but I'm saying it's possible to do that. And you get a reputation of that's the person that you are. And so many times I've found in my 50 years of serving Christ, it's not always that way. A lot of the times it's not that way. Because when you get to know them in their personal life, that's not the way they are. And it's sad, and it hurts the church, and it hurts the name of Christ. Your reputation and my reputation should be based on what Paul just says here. I will forbear lest anyone should think of me above what he sees me to be. I don't want anybody to think anything more of me than what they see in me and what he says and what they hear from me. My reputation to people, I want it to be who I am. I've got my flaws, I've got my mistakes, I do stupid things, but I want people to see me who I am. Not for an hour or two, but in my daily life. I want them to see who I am and what I believe and what I live. And as Christians, we have to live what we preach. We have to live what we speak. We have to live our lives when people don't see it the same way we live our lives when people do see it. The real me, the true person that I am, is the person that I am when nobody else is around, when I can think anything I want, do anything I want, say anything I want, and nobody will see it. Of course, we know God does, but I'm talking in the flesh because it's easy so many times to not think about what God's seeing us, but to do what we want to do and then put on our airs about who people think we are and begin to act that way. But the real me is who I am when nobody else is watching. The real you is the you are in your closet when nobody else sees anything you do, the thoughts you think, the actions you take. And that should be our reputation, who we are. We need to be like Paul. We need to be like Paul. He had visions and he had inexpressible things happen to him, godly things, wonderful things. And that's great. But the Paul that people saw was the Paul that people needed to respect. The Paul that people needed to know was a godly man and serving Jesus Christ. Not the ones people heard about, but the ones people saw. And you need people They see you, to know who you are by your actions and by your words. I need people to see me, who I am, by my words and by my actions, not by the reputation somebody else has given me, not by the compliments or dissing that somebody else has given me. I want my reputation to be who I am. And we need to take pride in who we are, because in Jesus Christ we are something, but only through Jesus Christ. So I encourage you, live that life. Be the person God called you to be, and live that life before others, and let your reputation be who you truly are, not who someone else says you are. I love you, and I pray God blesses you today. Bye-bye.